Who, The Snowmen, the 2012 Christmas special, is written by Stephen Moffat and starring Matt Smith and Jenna Coleman. So Stephen Moffat wanted to make an epic Christmas special, creating a story showing how the Doctor had responded to losing his previous companions like Amy and Rory. Stephen thought he's probably reached the point in his life where he's saying friendship for me is just postponed bereavement, I want to be on my own for a while. Stephen Moffat compared it to the first episode of First Doctor, William Hartnell, and Ninth Doctor, Christopher Eccleston. There was a retired Doctor Who story written by Douglas Adams but got dropped, so Stephen Moffat reused bits of it for this episode. So we have 3 prequels for this episode. The first one is The Great Detective, Children in Need, which came out 16th of November 2012, introduced by Matt Smith and Jenna Coleman, where Paternoster Gang returned from A Good Man Goes to War, where Vastra, Strax and Jenny tells the problems to the Doctor and wonder if they should investigate, but the Doctor said he doesn't do it anymore and walked off, which upset the gang. So in the second prequel, Vastra investigates, that got released on 17th of December 2012 online and 20th of December 2012 on BBC Red Button, where Strax arrested a criminal and took him away, handled pretty amusing. Paul Hickey played Inspector Gregson, who's an officer, questions the look of Strax and Vastra. So Vastra explains that Strax is a clone from outer space and Vastra is a reptile living on Earth long before humans evolve. Gregson later appeared in Deep Breath. As they left, they're pretty sad that there's no word from the Doctor and suspecting it's snowing, with Vastra saying it's impossible. Third prequel, there's the Battle of Demon's Run 2 days later, which I already mentioned in A Good Man Goes to War retrospective, where Strax is fixed up and joined Vastra and Jenny being part of the team. So in the episode, which is set in Christmas Eve 1892, well, it starts off with a scene in 1842 where children are playing. Woman asked young Walter Simeon to play with the other kids, but he doesn't need anyone as he thought they're silly. And she's right, it's definitely not right and not healthy either. So 50 years later, with the grown Dr. Walter Simeon, he's played by Richard E. Grant. And he's so good in this! Matt Smith said he was born to be Who villain. He pitches it on that perfect level and tone, which I agree. Plus he played an incarnation of the Doctor in The Curse of the Fatal Death, which is non-canon, it's just a parody. That's also written by Stephen Moffat. And he also played the Shalka Doctor in an animated story in Scream of the Shalka, the alternative Ninth Doctor. Dr. Simeon got connected with the origins of the Great Intelligence. His body got used by it after when he dies. Great Intelligence are a mysterious entity. I love the concept. It's nice to see them again. They first appeared in The Web of Fear in the second Doctor, Patrick Troughton's era, and Ian McKellen did a splendid job. The Snowmen in this episode got brought to life by Great Intelligence are terrifying. The bit where they're eating people is like something off horror movie without showing any gore. Clara Oswin Oswald is another of Clara Splinter, who works as a barmaid and governess. Goes by the name Mrs. Montague. She's very likeable and her chemistry with Matt is great, which is why she got casted. Also because she was able to talk faster than he can. Jenna Coleman as Clara Oswald was brought in to reboot the show and make the 11th Doctor different. So Clara met the Doctor as they examined the snow. The Doctor walked off and went back on the cart, phoning Vastra, and there's Clara on the roof and said Doctor Who, which led to new title sequence. Which looks pretty cool with the effects. The Doctor's face appeared, which hasn't been used since 7th Doctor Sylvester McCoy in Survival Story. It's nice to see Neve McIntosh, Dan Starkey and Catherine Stewart back as Madame Vastra, Commander Strax and Jenny Flint, the Paternoster Gang. Stephen Moffat wanted to do their spin-off series, which would be fun, but sadly he didn't have time for that, which is how they ended up becoming the recurring characters for Series 7. After Vastra and Jenny confront Simeon, the Doctor looks at the snow with Strax's funny sense of humour, calling Clara a boy, accidentally using Memory Worm to remove a memory a few minutes before, and saying stuff about grenades, detaining Clara as the snowmen rise. The Doctor gets Clara to think about them melting, so it happened. It was an intense scene there. So the Doctor walked off, Clara followed him, climbing on the staircase to the clouds where the TARDIS is, which looks pretty cool. She played Knocky Nine Doors on the Doctor, and left, so Clara paid a visit to Latimer as Mrs. Montague and putting on posh accent. Tom Ward took the part because of the quality of the script, and his kids were happy that he's part of the show. Tom played a character called Captain Latimer, who's a widower. He did a fantastic job. Latimer's kids, Digby and Francesco, are played by real-life brothers and sisters, Joseph and Ellie Darcy Alden. They're great as well. I've known Ellie as young Lily in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2. She's a talented actress. It's a nice moment when she does a secret voice, which is, "Hello mates." Franny explained to Clara about her mum died and the fact the previous governess drowned and frozen in the pond. She said she's going to punish them or something. So Clara tried to get the ladder and calling for the doctor with people staring at her thinking she's gone mad or something. Luckily Jenny happened to be there, so she took Clara to see Vastra drinking blood, not red wine. Wonder where she got the blood from. I love the one-word test scene. Vastra explains to Clara that the doctor doesn't save people. However, she explains that he did help during the events in Demon's Run. So Vastra phoned the doctor and told him that the message from Clara is pond, which made the doctor got into those clothes that the fourth doctor, Tom Baker, wore in Talons of Wang Chiang and questioned Dr. Simeon as Sherlock Holmes. Love it. I think Matt Smith was tested for Dr. Watson, but he got to play the 11th Doctor instead, and I do like his Victorian-themed costume designed by Howard Burden. Matt described it as a bit artful, Dodger meets the Doctor, and Stephen Moffat said it was a procession as the Doctor was in a different phase of his life now and felt more grown up and father-like. As the Doctor looks at the newspaper where the pond is, he gets back into the Victorian outfit, and looking at the pond we have funny moments where Strax called the Doctor Sherlock Holmes and the Doctor did not like that. Meanwhile, Clara tells Franny and Digby a story about the Doctor and how he's going to help save the day. The bit where Ice Governess came into the room was pretty scary and funny when she says the children have been very naughty, that's the way to do it. And she's voiced by Juliet Cazzo. Luckily the Doctor melted her for a bit as everyone went downstairs and bumped into Captain Latimer. We get a hilarious scene where a maid screaming at anything she sees. As Vastra, Jenny and Strax came in, the Doctor and Clara ran upstairs and the staircase to the clouds and reveals the inside of the TARDIS has got changed. Nice way to reveal it. Stephen Moffat said Matt's first TARDIS interior was starting to get more whimsical and looking more like magical place rather than a machine, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So Michael Pickwood designed the new inside of the TARDIS, saying it's supposed to be dark and moodier and an easier access to gallery of the ship when shooting. I think the design's great. After Clara had some time looking at the TARDIS and having a little conversation with the Doctor, Ice Governess caught up and dragged her off, which made Clara fell to her death with the Ice Governess. After the Dr. Simeon agreed to meet up with the Doctor in his place, we found out that the Great Intelligence is an echo of Simeon, as it's reflecting everything he says in a way. It looked horrifying when Simeon was trying to absorb the Doctor. As Clara, Franny and Digby cries, the Great Intelligence remirrored them as the snow globe became a rain globe. Simeon dies, the Doctor realises that raining is crying. After a certain line from Clara,
"Run, you clever boy, and remember."
The Doctor is thinking that this sounds familiar but couldn't picture what it is until next day at the graveyard. He sees the name Clara Oswin Oswald, which is the souffle girl he remembered in Asylum of the Daleks. I love the build-up in that scene. The Doctor runs back to the TARDIS to find her. In the present day, Clara takes a shortcut to see Clara Oswin Oswald's grave, with her friends saying graveyard is creepy. Clara doesn't believe in ghosts. I love how the Doctor is like, Clara Oswin Oswald, watch me run. There's a lot of great stuff in there. Every time I watch this episode, I can taste Christmas dinner. I noticed that this episode where it gives a different tone, whereas the first 6 months series and series 7 part 1, the tone was bright, warmth and happiness in a way, where Snowmen and the rest until Twice Upon a Time where it's dark, cold and classic series vibes. What did you think of the Snowmen episode? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.